This review covers the McLaren MP4/2C. It's a 1/12 scale kit from Italeri, number 4711. The MP4/2C McLaren was a legendary Formula One racing car that debuted in the 1986 season. It was designed by Gordon Murray, and it was a highly successful car. It featured an aerodynamic design and innovative technical advancements. Now, it was powered by a turbocharged top Porsche engine combined with the car's lightweight and construction with advanced aerodynamics. It was hailed as a marvel of engineering and pushed the boundaries of Formula One racing. Now, the talented McLaren team, led by the exceptional Alain Prost, enjoyed a remarkable 1986 season, and his stellar performance secured him the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship for McLaren. Now, the MP4/2C's outstanding performance and reliability were pivotal factors in the team's triumphant campaign that year. Striking red, white, and black box art, which of course mimics and complements the actual vehicle, which of course came from its sponsor, which was a tobacco product. Now, we use those decals in our kit for historical accuracy, but we do not espouse the use of any tobacco products. Now, it had an enhanced boxing from the original kit that came out by Protar in 1986 by adding a couple of new waterslide decal sheets and some PE for it. It has over 250 parts molded in black, white, and clear with rubber tires, screws, wires, springs, etc. And there's 41 photo etch pieces along with, as I mentioned, the new Cartograph waterslide decals for both the Alain Prost and the Keke Rosberg versions. Now, it features a detailed active suspension, a highly detailed TAC Porsche engine, real rubber tires, and removable body cowling. Now, it's rated at a skill level 5 for the advanced builder, and I would agree with that. When you're done, it's about 14 inches long, 6 3/4 inches wide, and 3 inches high. Here are the contents for the kit, and as you can see, there's a lot of parts here, and many of them are quite intricate and delicate. They'll require extensive cleanup and test fitting for a good result. Italeri made to the kit. You can see both the non-tobacco and tobacco markings on the decal sheet, along with both number 1 and 2 car for the respective drivers. And as you can see on the left there are some really nice looking decals for the carbon fiber portions, the seating and parts of the body there, and the PE tree up in the upper left there with all the PE parts on it. These are all nice additions for adding detail to the kit. Now some words of caution here. The decals that come with the kit from Cartograph are very good concerning color and register, but because they are so thin to conform to body contours, they can be difficult to apply without using adequate surface water to arrange them on your model. They'll also require a little longer to come loose from the carrier film than other brands. And when you get them on, you'll need to stretch them out to remove wrinkles and trapped water bubbles. Also, the PE tree there comes with some nice items. It's got actually 2 different engine script sets, as well as grills, covers, seatbelt hardware, and straps for the model, and some of them need to be painted. The instructions for the kit are very extensive, and you'll need to study them thoroughly before you begin. All the parts are identified by number and sprue, so pay careful attention to those. And even so, some of the instructions are a little vague, and some of the tubes and wires are basically routed to nowhere and just left to dangle or tucked behind something. So after marking up a copy of the instructions with paint colors, some bulk painting for white, black, and aluminum parts will help. And once dry, I then started by reinforcing the mid-forward side panels with a thin strip of styrene to increase the strength for that part. Once the parts are dry, you can start removing some of them for use by clipping them off of the tree And you'll notice here there's some overfill pots, the arrow there on the right. And if you look up in the upper left here, there is massive, I mean the biggest sprue connection points that I've ever seen that'll have to carefully be trimmed off. Use the back of a hobby knife or a saw to remove those without damaging the parts. The front suspension and the bulkhead is first, and it includes a genuine rack and pinion steering mechanism as well as an active suspension metal spring. Now there's overflow sinks. Once again, you'll have to clean those off, but don't destroy the connectors. Now some of the gluing instructions should be avoided to allow unrestricted motion of the control arms, etc. in the front end there. And the rack and pinion gear needs to be opened up for smooth operation. Once the bulkhead and suspension is in place, then the brakes and the inner fenders are assembled and added up to the front end. Now the brakes are quite detailed, but clearance is tight, and they will rotate, however, if a caliper that's added there on each side is put in place with disc rotation in mind. From internet photos, it appeared that the rear chassis plate was kind of a graphite metallic color. That's how I painted it. And then I added the intakes after that had dried and glued the front section and the rear plates together. Now I had to take about 40 thousandths off of the front edge of the rear plate for a good fit, and this gave the assembly time to dry before building the engine. The engine is a model in itself, and the upper covers have 3 different choices providing scripting for that. I opted for the simple water slide decals because I thought they looked the best, but you have a choice of partial or full plate photo etch parts as well. Some of the parts are grayed out on the layout of the pieces and sprues, and parts numbers 27 to 29 include the distributors, but they don't indicate replacement parts in the instructions. In fact, it calls for those part numbers in the diagram, so that's what I used. Now I drilled out the 2 distributors on each side and wired them with some painted copper wire, running them toward the engine under the center cover strip along the cylinders, as that's what I saw on internet photos. Careful test fitting of all the engine components is necessary. Apply the photo etch grills and decals to the front section, and note the red tanks there that are to be placed under the forward cockpit bulkhead. Now I opted not to install those. The instructions indicate that adding the driver's seat after the instrument panel is installed, but from test fitting there was not enough clearance to do that. The tanks interfere and they're completely covered anyway. Now you could wait till near the end of the build to add the steering to the cockpit after the seats are installed if you want to use them. Alright, with the front and rear sections joined, the engine and cockpit installed, the wheel assemblies can be added, and they go together very easily. You just slip the wheels in through the opening of the tires and snap them on in place. They seemed a little bit loose as far as being connected to the bead, but I think they maybe are done on purpose that way. Nonetheless, they also have regular knockoff hubs, just like a real F1. And they come with a tool in the kit to put them in place, but I used an 11/32 nut driver to provide the necessary torque. Now the water slide decals came with some Eagle logos. They did not come with the Goodyear logos, however, but I used the Eagle logos, and I find that they don't stick very well. You may actually need to use a little bit of solution or some thin, like clear paint in order to get those to stick into position. Now, with the rolling chassis assembled, body prep and painting are next, and careful masking of the body along the faint demarcation engravings will produce a striking and complementary paint scheme, just like the original car. Now, patient application of the decals will result in a really nice looking replica, and this includes the front and rear spoiler assemblies. Now the rear section's a bit tricky to construct. Fully paint the decal and the rear wing components, and when they are dry, add the horizontal slats to one side with some slow setting glue, and when they're tacky but still pliable, add the other vertical side panel to the opposite ends using a little cement for those ends of the slats into those slots. Well, there you have it. With your decals dried, you can drop the body into position over the lower section, and you've got yourself a really nice looking replica of that famous F1 McLaren. And with a lot of patience and a lot of test fitting, you'll be able to construct a model that you'll be proud of. But it will take extra effort. This is not a kit for the beginner or the intermediate. This is going to take a lot of work. However, look what you've got when you're done. And that said, with the subject matter being the king of model considerations, with a fair amount of work, you'll be able to make an accurate replica of the legendary McLaren MP4/2C.
Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations, where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint. You'll find aisles and aisles of scale model kits, RC models, model rockets, Warhammer gaming, and railroading products. Stop in at Ryder's today and tell them Doug sent you.